Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maggie and this is Maggie Budgets and Plans, the channel dedicated to my journey to pay down debt using the zero-based budget and cash envelope systems. In today's video, we're actually going to go ahead and do a budget with me for my business, as I am now officially self-employed. This makes the 1 week anniversary of being self-employed. So we're going to go ahead and go through my business budget today. And yeah, if that's interesting to you guys, go ahead and stick around. Hello everybody, and welcome back. I hope you are all doing well. It has been a very busy time getting everything ready and set to go for the business, but I've officially done my first full week being self-employed, and here's Miss Nova coming in to say hello, making sure you guys haven't forgotten about her, the true star of the channel. Yes, all right, baby girl, I need you to lay down now. Thank you. All right, I think we are done with the cat breaks for the time being. So let's go ahead and jump in with the business budget. I figured I'm going to start by taking you guys through my income and fees for this very first week of the business. Let me set some stuff aside. There's my calculator, and then this is some notes that I had about different categories and amounts that I wanted to go into things. But let's go ahead and jump into this spread. I haven't filled it out yet for the different services and everything, and I changed up what is going on at the top. The last time you guys saw this planner was all the way back in January. You can see like January and then to April, because it's been so busy that I haven't had a chance to do all the other months, and I wanted to just leave that be. But what I was doing before is I was writing down all of the different services that I was doing in a day, as well as the total that went to the salon, like the total fees for the services, and then also the total tips that I gathered in that day is what I had been doing with these spreads. And then on this side column, I was writing like the total of the amount brought into the salon, and then my total tips for the week, and then also like the number of clients, services, how many biosculpture gel services, because I mostly do hard gel services, also sometimes called builder gel, or structured manicure services. So that's type of service versus like regular manicures, pedicures, repairs, all of those different things. So I've changed this up, and instead what I'm doing is I'm writing down the total amount of money brought in. So this does include tips. So this is the amount that is the fully amount charged on cards. This is only for card payments. So that includes the cost of the service as well as the tip. The next amount down is the credit card processing fee, so how much I paid to process those credit cards. And then the final amount is the gross receipts tax. So for Monday last week, I brought in $139.33, paid $3.72 in fees, and my gross receipts tax was $6.33. You guys get the gist of all of these. So what I want to go ahead and do now is add up the total amount of money brought into the business over the course of my first 7 days. And I did work all 7 days, which is definitely not my normal, but I am very aware right now that like this is a big period of transition for my clients. So I'm trying to make myself like extra accommodating of their schedules to try and incentivize them to stick with me, to not go back to the kind of regular salon where I was, things like that. Wowza, this is the first time I've added that all up. That's an insane amount of money. So that ended up being, so total was $1,694.10. Let me add that up one more time to make sure that was correct, since I have a bad habit of adding up the numbers incorrectly. Miss Nova's now running around the apartment playing, so you guys are probably going to hear her little paws skittering on the floor. 194.62 plus 105.93 plus 359.13 equals, yes, 169,410. Holy moly, guys, that is way more money than I thought. I haven't actually added it all up yet, so that was a little shocking for me to see that full number. Now, in terms of the amount that I paid for credit card fees, and the reason this is important is, one, I have to subtract it from this total, but the other reason it's important is because I can write off as a business expense and not the cost of the credit card processing fees. So I need to know how much that is, because I'll add that into my QuickBooks every week. to help with taxes. Alrighty, so fees for credit cards. So we're just gonna put CC is gonna be $47.29. Let's double check that number one last time as well. Plus 459 plus 1085 plus 526 plus 285 plus 974 equals 47.29. Perfect. All right, and then the last amount is the total that I collected for gross receipts tax, so sales tax, which I need to keep track of because I have to pay that to the state monthly. $6.33 plus $22.34 plus $8.39 plus $23.11 plus $11.67 plus $6.33 plus $21.13 equals $99.03. $99.30. So fee totals, so that includes gross receipts and credit card processing fees, are going to be $99.30 plus $47.29, leaves me with with the total of $146.59. Hi, baby girl. In fees. So if I take the 1,694.10 minus 146.59, that leaves us with $1,547.51 brought in. Oh my God, you guys, that is so much money. That is like more money in 7 days than I normally bring in 2 weeks. That's insane. And I know that that's not all money to me. Like, that's money to the business, and the business has a lot of expenses and everything like that. But just seeing that amount of money is bonkers to me. I love it, but it's also a little like, oh my God, that's so much money. That's just amazing and stress inducing at the same time in this weird way. But yes, let me go ahead and get switched over to the budget with me page. Sorry, I'm just writing down some notes. Okay, because this is the total amount brought into the business, the $1,547.51. Thank you, miss. Minus the fees of the credit card processing and then the gross receipts tax. Nova. Thank you, miss. Anyways, but that's not what we have to budget with this week, because I started seeing clients on Monday, and I still needed to buy some last minute supplies. So I spent a lot of time Monday and Tuesday buying some last minute supplies. And since I had money coming into the business, I decided to use my debit card, my business debit card, instead of the credit card. Which I don't regret now, although it does make this a little more awkward for budgeting, but that's fine. So what I did instead is I went to my bank account and I just pulled the total that I have in my bank account as of today, and we'll just budget off of that amount for right now. All right, miss, I need you to move. Miss Nova. I'm sorry, baby. So yes, because I've already spent some of this money, we're just gonna budget off of what I have remaining in my bank account today. And then going forward, I'm gonna try and not put things on the business debit card. Like, this is, I don't know, it's gonna be a little weird. I have to figure this out as I go. I'm still trialing how I wanna do all of this, manage the money for the business, because this is so new to me. And I have to like resist that impulse of being like, oh, there's money available, spend it. Because while I have done a lot of work to improve my spending habits and my like just freewheeling spending ways, I'm still far from done with that impulse spending part of me, from that part of my brain that says like, oh, you have money, spend it. So yes, still always learning and growing through this whole process. Okay. So let's go ahead and come over to this spread, and this looks very much like normal. You guys know what this looks like. It's the same one I use in my personal planner, and I'm just printed it out and putting a copy in here for the business. I might revamp these in the future, but for today, this is what it is. So the date is going to be 4/8/24, and the amount that we have to budget with is $1,285. Now, in this, from this, I have already today went ahead and paid my rent. It just hasn't been subtracted from my account yet. I also bought a piece of equipment from my former boss. It's a dust collector. I always knew that she was willing to sell me a used one for $100, but I wanted to see if I felt like I needed it. And through this first week, I've noticed the difference immensely. I've just gotten so used to using a dust collector. And one, it keeps my desk just cleaner, which is great. But two, I also like that it sucks all the dust in. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it, so that there's less floating up for me to breathe in, for my clients to breathe in. So my comfort level was such that I just really needed to do this. And I thought about buying a new one, but my plan for the time being is to try and keep my expenses lower. I spent way more to start the business than I had originally budgeted, partially because I switched to using my credit card to fund things. So I just had a higher credit limit available, which honestly ended up in the end feeling kind of like a really good thing, because it meant that there were some things that were like really nice to have, but weren't true necessities, but did enable me to have a much smoother, easier, work situation, that I was able to just be like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and grab this because I'm putting it on the credit card. And it is all the business's debt. I haven't put anything personal on the credit card. It is all just stuff for the business. And it made it a little less stressful to start this if I wasn't counting every single penny. But now I'm very aware that I've got this really large credit card bill that I need to pay down. So that's kind of, always going to be in the back of my head, which is one of the reasons why I hadn't gotten the dust collector right away. I wanted to see if I really needed it. And I decided that I did. And I decided I was going to get a used one from my former boss, instead of the new one that I like, but that's like $300. Way too much money right now, like $250, $300, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I also bought a used nail drill from my former boss. And my plan is to, over the course of the next few months, save up to buy new versions of the nail drill and the dust collector, because the drill especially is like a true necessity for me to do my job. Without it, I cannot work. So I don't want to only have one. I want to have a backup. So I'm using a used one right now. And then once I've saved up enough money to buy a new one, the new one will become my primary. And then if that ever breaks or gets damaged in any way, I will always have the used one as a backup, which is also what I want to do with the dust collector. Is I always want to have a backup of these things that are like necessities for me to do my job. So anyways, rambling aside, those are too expensive. So we've got my weekly rent of $211, my dust collector fee of $100. I need to make sure that I'm taking out the gross receipts tax, since that hasn't been taken out of this amount yet. Gross receipts tax, and we're just going to round that number up to $100. I know that's a little bit more than what was actually owed for the week. What was it for the first week? It's like $99 and change, right? And apparently I can't navigate to a page. Yeah, it was $99.30. So I'm just going to round that up to 100 to keep that nice and easy for me. Now, let's do this. Where are we at money-wise? So we had $1,285. We're going to subtract $211. And then we're going to subtract $100. We're going to subtract another $100 for gross receipts. That leaves us with $874. I do need to put aside $34 a week for bills. So we're going to do that. And what I've just done for that bills is I've totaled up all of the bills outside of rent that are like auto debits out of my bank account. So like the appointment software I'm using, my website fee, QuickBooks fee, and then my insurance. I've added up all of those and then divided them by 4 so that I can be saving into those with each paycheck. So So that is that $34 is that portion of that. So minus 34. So that leaves me with $840. So what I'm trying to decide right now is, do I want to pay myself $500, $600, or $700? Those are my goal amounts to pay myself every week. A minimum of $500, ideally closer to $700 a week. But I'm trying to also balance what I'm paying myself with putting money into the business's sinking funds. That's the line I'm trying to figure out right now. So what I think I want to do is even just do like 650. So if we've got 840 currently, minus 650 equals 190. So 190, nope, let's do it 600 even. Let's do it 600 even. That I think is just gonna be, that's plenty sufficient for me for right now. Payroll is gonna be $600. Because I need to make sure that I'm paying into the business's sinking funds so that I stop putting everything on a freaking credit card. Okay, so that brings us to a total expenses of $1,045 and a total income of $1,285. So minus 1,285 leaves me with $240 left over. Perfect. Okay, so $240 left over to budget with into the business's sinking funds. So speaking of those, let me go ahead and show you. We've got 2 new binders, you guys. I've cut out all of the Cricut labels for them, but I haven't put them on yet, so they look a little sad at the moment. And then I will do dashboards and everything in the future. But these are the 2 business binders. This one is like materials and supplies, and then this is everything else. So let's go ahead and flip through these so that you can see what the categories look like. And these are very specific to my job as a nail technician, but these are the categories I decided to save into for sinking funds for the business. So bio is the hard gel that I use. Like I said, I do mostly hard gel manicures. So Bio Sculpture is the brand of hard gel that I use. So that's to buy more of that product. Then we've got the bits that I use for cuticle work and polish removal. Chemicals like acetone and cleansers. Consumables, so these are things like nail files, buffers, gloves, masks, paper towels, Clorox wipes, things like that. Decor, so just, pretty stuff around my room. Implements are reusable tools, so things like cuticle nippers, pushers, things that are metal tools. Lotions, lotions and potions. A miscellaneous category. Polish, so that's for nail polish. And then tools, those are the electronic tools. So like the the dust collector and e-file go under tools. And I realized I forgot art supplies. I've already forgotten a category because nail art supplies I want to do as separate from polishes, because I tend to spend a lot of money on nail art supplies when I give myself permission to. So I want to make sure that that's budgeted separately. Nail art. So I will get another envelope for that in a minute, but there we go for that one. And then this one, in this binder, we've got kind of the nuts and bolts, the practical things. So we've got bills, accountant, debt, health insurance, because the business can pay my health insurance as a tax deduction. So I need to start saving up so that it can do that. I don't think I'm going to start that this month. I'm going to wait and start it next month. Because I'm also changing my health insurance policy. Since I had a change in income and a change in employment, I have an option on the health exchange, the healthcare.gov exchange, to change my insurance policy, and I need to, because it turns out I can't get easy access to a lot of doctors in Albuquerque, where I live, with the health insurance that I have currently. So I've got to change that up. Then we've got marketing, massage, because I do use my body, my hands and arms for work. I want to start having the business pay for at least monthly massages for me, so that way I can make sure my body is good enough to continue to do this. Then we've got miscellaneous, month ahead, so I want to definitely save up a full month's worth of rent and bills in a bank account, so that's always in the bank for the business. Then we've got payroll, rent, retirement, because the business can also pay into a retirement account for me, and then sick day, which is a category where if I want to take a sick day, I want to be able to like replace my income for that day. So think of it as like sick pay. And so yes, I want to save up for that to make it a little easier for me to take a day off without panicking. So yes, in terms of this $240 that I have left over though, what I think I want to do is, what do I want to do? So the biggest category that I want to pay into is debt. I really need more biosculpture. I bought these little itty bitty jars to start with because it was not cheap really in the long run because it costs more per milliliter, but I bought the small jars to start with and I need to get the larger jars. And each of the larger jars are like $125. So I kind of want to do that next week, I think. So I want to save into it. How do I want to do this? I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do what? So I said the jars are 125 divided by 2 is $62.50. So let's go ahead and do $60 into bio right now, which can be a 10 and a 50. So we've got 240 minus 60 equals 180, and Miss Nova has like found the coin, so she's ready to just play with those. Let me go ahead and look at this one here. These are like supplies, and I got a okay amount to get started, but not a great amount. One, because I wanted to try out like the files and the buffers and the gloves that I got to see if I like them enough to reorder them. And two, because I just couldn't afford bulk purchasing. So let's see. So bio I've taken care of, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if you count nail art. So let's do that. Let's do $5 into each of those categories for right now, because that would be 50. So we're going to do pink binder because this will just make it easier for me. Pink binder. There's 10 categories. And it's going to be $5 in each. So we're going to make that 50. And we are going to do that as 10.5. So we're just going to do a straight $5 bill in each of those categories, because I want to start paying into them. But I think I'm okay for the next month or so without buying more outside of the bio. The bio I really, really need. But everything else, I think I'm okay and supplied well enough that I'm good to only do $5 in each of them for now. I do have a list, this is like very rough, of like kind of the amounts that I generally want to try and save into the different categories. But because I've got this big debt that I want to pay down and make a priority, we're going to do things a little differently to start with. So let's do this again to make sure I've got this right. So we had $240 minus $60 minus $50 equals $130 left over. So in my yellow binder, I'm thinking I'm just going to divide that 50-50 between month ahead and debt, or maybe $100, because I don't need to do marketing. I do want to order some customer loyalty cards to encourage people to come back. And I do want to pay into the massage. Let's do $20 into massage and $20 into marketing. The rest of those categories I think can wait for the time being. Massage. Wow, I can't spell marketing right now. Marketing. We're going to do $20 into each of those categories. So that's minus 40 there. So that leaves us with $90. So we're going to go ahead and do $50 into debt. And that I will just pay off immediately. And then we are also going to do month ahead. And we're going to do $40 in month ahead. And that is also going to be stuffed digitally. So I currently have 4 different business accounts. So I've got my business checking account. I've got an account dedicated to IRS income tax. Then I've got an account dedicated to like federal tax. And then I have an account dedicated to the gross receipts tax for the state of New Mexico where I live. And then I also have an account that's my like buffer or month ahead account. So those are the 4 accounts I have currently. So this debt is going to get paid off immediately. We'll leave that in the bank. The month ahead, I will also leave in the bank. I'll just put it into that dedicated month ahead account. The rest of these though, I'll take out in cash. To make sure that I don't spend the money while it's in my bank. So in cash for the business, I'm gonna need $150, 2 20s, one $10 bill, and 10 $5 bills. So it is gonna be 50 plus 10 plus 40 plus 50. So I'm pulling out $150 to stuff into envelopes, and then we're gonna leave $90 in the bank. So yes, and then these guys, rent is gonna stay in the bank, well, because I've already paid it, and same with the desk collector. Gross receipts tax is going to stay in the bank in the gross receipts category. Bills are gonna stay in the bank as a part of this like buffer month ahead account is probably where that will go. And then payroll, I will take out in cash. I don't know what those denominations are going to be yet, because now I need to go and do my personal budget with me to figure out how I'm going to budget that $600 personally. But for the business, we're going to pull out here. I'm going to write these down. $5 times 10. We're going to do $10 times 1. We're gonna do $20 times 2 and $50 times 1. Just so that this little teller slip is ready to go for tomorrow morning. I've got enough time tomorrow before my first client to go to the bank for myself and for the business. So that will be the business. There we go. Alrighty, you guys. This is a little, I don't know, I was gonna say it's weird. It is and it isn't weird. Like I know how to do this budgeting. I've done it for, months now. But it feels very weird for this to be like my business that I've started, that I'm doing, and it's been a week and it's been such a great first week. My clients have been so lovely and so incredible. And there's been no issues so far, which is amazing. And I'm kind of like keep waiting for there to be a big issue, but I think I've just planned well enough that there aren't gonna be, fingers crossed. Hopefully I have not just cursed myself. Yeah, I mean, like the hardest part of this week was basically just that like I'd started my fill on this hand and haven't gotten around to this hand yet. So I'm wearing very lopsided, very different modes in my nails. But yeah, it's been a great first week and I'm just so excited to be here, to be at this place where I'm self-employed, to be feeling this good about it already in the first week, and to see all of my hard work in terms of like building my nail school skills, but also in terms of like my planning and my like figuring things out. It's all working, and that's just feels amazing. It feels just so incredible. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching today. I will go ahead and see you next time for when we do a personal budget with me for my first paycheck from my self-employed income. So yes, I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.